I'm on board Carnival Celebration for a 7-day cruise in the Caribbean. In this video, I'll tell you all about what I loved and what I didn't about Carnival's big new ship. I had a lot of fun on this cruise, relaxing and staying cool in the pools, having lots of laughs at the comedy club, enjoying some big musical production shows, eating a lot of burgers, and visiting some great Caribbean destinations. So stick around and let me tell you all about Carnival Celebration. I'm Jim Zim, and this was the 31st time I've cruised with Carnival, and my 58th cruise overall, for a total of 408 days spent on cruise ships so far. There was a lot that I loved about Carnival Celebration, and some things that I didn't, so get comfortable and let me tell you all about it. One of the things I really like about this ship is that she has 5 different pools. There's the main pool, midship on Lido Deck, where there's almost always music playing. This is the pool for you if you like a fun party scene. It also seems to be the pool where families with children like to hang out. There's also a hot tub next to this pool, and at night there are movies on the big screen out here. At the back end of the Lido Deck, there's a second pool known as the Tides Pool. This tends to be a much more relaxing spot, without the loud music and the activities of the midship pool. And there are 2 hot tubs next to this pool. At the front end of the ship, up on the very top on Deck 18, is the Serenity Retreat, which has 2 different hot tubs, and there's a pool within the Serenity Retreat. This is an adults-only area, no kids allowed, but all adult passengers have access at no additional charge. I like that so much better than the way they do it on Princess, where you have to pay to access their version of this. The problem, though, with the pool at the Serenity Retreat on Carnival Celebration, and the reason you don't see anyone actually using the pool, is that because this is up at the top of the ship, at the very front, it's super windy up here when the ship is sailing. And then on top of that, the water in the pool was really cold. I had a pool thermometer with me, and the water in the Serenity pool was only 73 degrees. Another reason nobody was using it. One level above the Serenity pool, there's a pool just for guests who are staying in suites. You can see it here. Most passengers don't have access to this one, so it doesn't even really count unless you're staying in a suite. My favorite pool of all on Carnival Celebration is the one on Deck 8 at the very back end of the ship. This is the pool I ended up spending the most time at. It was quiet and relaxing and a bit protected from the wind. And just around the corner, a few steps away, there are 2 hot tubs and a bar. Something that really surprised me about Carnival Celebration and that I really loved was some of the best high-speed internet access I've ever had on a cruise ship. I had their premium internet package and it worked really well. I ran a number of speed tests during the week on both my laptop and on my phone, and most of the time I was getting download and upload speeds of around 60 megabits per second and 700 millisecond ping times. I was able to watch YouTube videos and even upload a few videos to YouTube and Facebook without any problem. It was some of the best internet access I had ever had on a cruise ship. And when I booked this cruise, I was able to take advantage of a special promotion that they were running at the time. They threw in that premium internet package at no additional charge. Speaking of good deals, I was really surprised at the cost of this cruise. Considering that it's Carnival's newest ship, their flagship, I would have expected to pay more for this cruise than I did. For a balcony cabin, the basic rate for my wife and I was $2,056. There were taxes and fees of $292 on top of that, and we prepaid the mandatory gratuities, bringing our total for 2 people, including the premium internet package, to only $2,551 for a 7-day cruise in a balcony cabin on Carnival's brand new ship. That seemed like a good value to me. Another thing I really loved about Carnival Celebration was the amount of entertainment they offered in the evenings. There was a lot to do at night. We saw shows in the Grand Spectrum Theater, which is the traditional cruise ship theater venue with seating for 1,000 people, but they also have a really interesting non-traditional theater known as Center Stage. By day, this is a lounge with big windows lining the side of the ship. But at night, the windows get covered by big video screens, and the place transforms into a very cool venue for big production shows with a lot of use of aerial performers. I also saw them use this space during the day for bingo. Seating in this venue is on 3 different levels, but it's not set up like a traditional theater, so there are a lot of seats that just don't have good views of all aspects of the show. And another non-traditional thing about this venue is that it's an open concept with shopping, bars, and restaurants located just behind much of the seating. So while you're seated and trying to enjoy the show, there's all sorts of noise from the walkways and bars and shops behind you. It's very distracting and makes it hard to enjoy the shows. But the good news is that since it's an open concept, it's very easy to just walk in during the middle of the show, check it out for 5 minutes or so, and then walk right out, something you really can't do in a traditional theater. Stand-up comedy was not only offered in the Punchliner Comedy Club like it is on most Carnival ships, but also in 2 other venues. On some nights, there were literally 2 different comedians performing shows in 2 different venues at the same time. If you like stand-up comedy, you should definitely cruise with Carnival. They do it better than any of the other cruise lines. If you're enjoying this video so far, and there's a lot more to come, so stick around, I want to just ask that you consider becoming one of my patrons. If you think that I'm doing a good job, that I'm a YouTuber you'd like to see succeed and continue, Patreon is the way to thank me and to help me keep going. I spend a lot of money on making these videos, and the generosity of my patrons is really important if I'm going to keep doing this. In return, I offer perks to the folks in the upper tiers of my patrons, such as early access to my videos before they go public on YouTube. And for my top patrons, a personal video greeting from me up to once a year on your birthday or whenever you want it. Head over to patreon.com/JimZim to find out more. My success on YouTube really started back in 2012 when I made a video about a brand new water slide they had just installed on Carnival Spirit. You get into this tube, and then the floor drops out from under you and scares the heck out of you. That video, which you're looking at right now, was my first big hit on YouTube, and it's gone on to get over 96 million views on YouTube, making it by a wide margin the most viewed YouTube video ever shot on a Carnival cruise ship, and certainly the most popular video I've ever made. That water slide on the Carnival Spirit is called the Green Thunder. So when I found out that Carnival Celebration has a vertical drop water slide, which is called the Orange Thunder, I was more than a little excited. And I spent quite a bit of time up there shooting video of people going down the Orange Thunder. Up on the same platform where you start the Orange Thunder, there are also 2 other water slides to choose from, which are also a lot of fun to ride, especially on a warm day in the Caribbean. If you bring your kids with you on Carnival Celebration, I guarantee you that they're going to want to spend a lot of time here in the water park. It's an awful lot of fun. This part of the ship is known as the Ultimate Playground, and that's where you'll also find Bolt, the roller coaster. That's something none of the other cruise lines besides Carnival offers, a roller coaster on a cruise ship. I tried it, and it was intense. There's a control on the handlebar that you can use to increase the speed, and I never touched it. The baseline speed was plenty thrilling enough for me. I didn't want to go any faster. The ride is quite short. You get to do 2 laps around the course during your ride on Bolt. And even if they're not busy and no one else in line, 2 laps, that's all you get. And they charge you $15 for it. Now, it seems so short that I later used a stopwatch to time it. Amazingly, those 2 laps are over in just 50 seconds. It seems like it really should be a longer ride than that. Other things to do in this part of the ship include miniature golf and basketball, which seem to be especially popular in the late afternoons. And the basketball court is where I saw Shaq doing a photo op the day we boarded the ship in Miami. Hey, do me a favor, if you're enjoying this video so far, please click on the thumbs up button. That lets YouTube know that this is a good video that they should recommend to more people. During this 7-day cruise, I was in just a basic balcony cabin, and there were some really great things about it. The particular cabin I chose was cabin number 10438, and I chose that one because it's located right between the midship elevators and the aft elevators, which meant that it was a fairly easy walk to get to either one, and that made it really easy to get to most parts of the ship. The balcony cabins in this particular part of the ship have a really great advantage over other balcony cabins on board. A balcony that's at least twice the size of the ones you get elsewhere on the ship. The balcony is the same width as a regular balcony, but it's more than twice as deep, meaning it's got more than twice as much space on it. I liked the way the cabin was laid out, especially all the storage. I could tell that whoever designed these cabins spent a lot of time figuring out how to make the closets more functional than the average cruise ship closet. I'm going to do an entire video that focuses just on the cabin design and the clever little details they thought out to make it better. Subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss that video when it comes out a week or 2 from now. The one glaring mistake I think they made in the cabin design was not putting power outlets on each side of the bed. In fact, they didn't put power outlets on either side of the bed, just USB charging ports. But sometimes there are devices that you want to use next to the bed that aren't powered by USB, like a laptop computer, for example. Almost all other cruise lines get this right with their newest ships. This is one thing that Carnival got very wrong. So bring an extension cord that'll reach from the desk over to your bedside. But I was very happy to see that on the TV in the cabin, Carnival was offering quite a few movies on demand, many of which were offered at no additional charge. Our 7-day cruise featured a really strong itinerary, visiting 3 great Caribbean destinations: Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the island of St. Martin. Even though I had been on 30 Carnival cruises before this was the first time I had ever been to Amber Cove. And I really liked it because when I'm on vacation, I love to spend time at a pool, relaxing in a lounger or cooling down in the water. And at Amber Cove, you have full access at no additional charge to this great pool area, which is an easy walking distance from where the ship docks. And because this little resort was developed just for the use of cruise ship passengers, it's got everything you'll need. There are shops, bars, restaurants, nice clean restrooms, and absolutely no pesky local vendors roaming around bothering you to buy souvenirs while you're trying to relax. So, Amber Cove was a big hit with me, another great private destination for cruise ships similar to others that Carnival has developed, such as Grand Turk, Costa Maya, and Mahogany Bay. There is one thing I should warn you about, though. There is a party scene here at the pool at Amber Cove. If you don't want to listen to music like Uptown Funk blasting over the PA system, bring some noise-canceling headphones and some music of your own to drown it out. San Juan, Puerto Rico holds a very special place in my heart. I love the view as the ship sails into the harbor of the historic fort known as El Morro. And I always think about the historic battle that occurred right here at this spot in 1595 when Sir Francis Drake tried to invade San Juan and plunder their huge cache of gold. But he never got past this spot and into the harbor because of the defenses the Spanish had built into this fort that guards the harbor entrance. And the injuries Drake suffered in that battle led directly to his death a few months later. If you've never been to San Juan before, definitely walk or take the trolley over to the historic fort, have a look around, and soak up a pretty great history lesson. Now, my wife and I had been to San Juan many times before, so instead of touring El Morro again, we decided to just have lunch at a great little restaurant that we know right at the waterfront where the cruise ships dock. It's called Tijuana's Bar and Grill, and they make the most incredible fajitas that I've ever had in my life. This was my second visit, and those delicious fajitas knocked my socks off both times. For our day on the island of St. Martin, we made it a beach day on the beach in Great Bay, which is very easy and inexpensive to get to from the cruise ship port. You don't have to pay for a shore excursion or anything. Just look for the signs that point you to the water taxis. And for just $7 per person round trip, the water taxi will whisk you over to the beach here at Great Bay. Here you can rent loungers and umbrellas on the beach for about $20. Balk if they try to get $30 from you, and the price will quickly drop. And we have a favorite little restaurant right on the beach boardwalk. I know it doesn't look like much, but they've got some good barbecue food on the menu here at this restaurant, which is known as Lizzie's. Speaking of food, I've got a few things I want to mention about dining on Carnival Celebration. Because there are over 5,000 passengers on this ship, they don't want them all trying to eat in the main dining room or in the buffet. They want to encourage passengers to disperse among all the various restaurants on board. So quite a few of the specialty restaurants, like Cucina del Capitano or my personal favorite, Guy Fieri's Pig and Anchor restaurant, they were encouraging passengers on Carnival Celebration to eat there by offering them at no additional charge. Whereas on the other ships in the Carnival fleet, you'd get hit with an upcharge for dining there. I really appreciated that. I also liked that the Pig and Anchor on Carnival Celebration is much larger, with much more available seating than it is on the other classes of Carnival ships. However, I was so disappointed to find that the Pig and Anchor features a different menu here on Carnival Celebration than it does on the other Carnival ships I've been on. And most notably, they've dropped my favorite thing from the menu, the trash can nachos. I loved these in the Pig and Anchor on the other Carnival ships, but they were completely absent from the menu on Carnival Celebration. But the good news on the subject of Guy Fieri food is that Carnival got smart with the design of Guy's Burger Joint on Carnival Celebration, moving it up one level to the deck above the midship pool. You're not fighting the pool crowd while you wait in line for one of these delicious burgers. However, there was one thing that they didn't get right. There are just not enough tables around Guy's Burger Joint to handle all the people that want to eat here. So if you can't find an open table, take your burger over to a lounger near the pool. Hey, if you're thinking of booking a cruise with Carnival or with any of the cruise lines, I want to suggest that you use the services of my travel agent, Caitlin Gallagher. I used to book my cruises directly with the cruise line, but as I became a more experienced cruiser, I came to realize how much better off I was to book through a travel agent. It's not about price. That cruise is going to cost you pretty much the same no matter how you book it. The cruise lines have total control of the pricing. But a travel agent is there to answer all your questions for you and to give you good advice so you don't do anything stupid like booking a balcony cabin downwind from the smoking area. I especially like Caitlin because she's an American with no accent, so I have absolutely no problem communicating with her. And as my agent, she gets to be the one stuck on hold with the cruise line, not me, when there's something like a price drop before final payment that needs to be worked out with the cruise line. So give Caitlin a call or send her an email when you're ready to book your next cruise. Our cruise on Carnival Celebration was during the first week of December, so the ship had been decorated for Christmas. I especially liked this amazing creation featuring gingerbread houses and even a model train, which is kind of my thing, you know. Everything you see here is edible. There were lots of Christmas trees all over the ship, the tallest one being next to the Latitudes bar. They also put on one heck of a Christmas show for us. It seemed like they put a lot of work into a show that they'd probably only get to perform on 4 cruises. Well, I sure appreciated it. And a lot of people in the audience came fully prepared with special Christmas costumes and outfits. And plenty of Christmas sweaters. I did really like the interior decor of the ship. It's so much classier than the older Carnival ships from the Joe Farkas era. Now, I personally wouldn't have chosen such a busy carpet for the stairwells and elevator landings, but overall, this is definitely one of the best-looking Carnival ships yet. One thing I really didn't like on Carnival Celebration was the buffet restaurant. They just don't offer enough different entrees to choose from. Compared to some of the other cruise lines, the Carnival buffet is sorely lacking. But to wrap this thing up, I do want to stress that I did really enjoy my cruise on Carnival Celebration. I had fun, and it was a good vacation. And definitely worth what I paid for it. This ship would be a fantastic choice for families traveling with children or teens, and it sure didn't seem like there were 5,500 guests aboard, even though there were. I will definitely continue to cruise with Carnival more than any of the other cruise lines because of the tremendous value for the dollar. But I really want to get back aboard one of Carnival's Vista-class ships so I can get trash can nachos at the Pig and Anchor. I'm putting some links up on the screen to a couple of other videos I've made about my cruise on Carnival Celebration. Check those out if you enjoyed this one. Or pause this video and leave a comment telling me your thoughts on Carnival Celebration or about this video. I'm Jim Zim. Thanks for watching.